movies are highbrow, some movies are lowbrow.
Hello, welcome to Highbrow Lowbrow. I am your host, Josh Kirschenbaum.
I'm Cooper Gagan.
Each week we pick a topic and talk about two movies that fit that topic, one highbrow, one lowbrow. This week the topic is we're not doing that. This is a very special debate episode. Really throwing you guys a curveball 7 episodes in. We're going to be debating if a certain movie is a highbrow movie or a lowbrow movie. Cooper, what's the movie?
The movie is Moulin Rouge.
The 2001 musical / fever dream.
Yep.
And
the 2001 experience.
And I want to say when we came up with this episode before we rewatched it, we didn't think of it as one of us will be debating highbrow, one will be lowbrow. It's going to be more we're kind of figuring it out ourselves because we didn't really know.
But I think it ended up that way.
Yeah, since we've watched them and since we've chatted a little bit, we've done a little of the pre-gaming here. I think we have very clear positions, so this may end up being a spicy hour.
Okay,
and a half.
right off the bat, I got a question for you.
Okay,
I want you to think about your answer. Think about it deeply.
but I don't know what the question is.
Okay, is this the longest movie ever made?
Moulin Rouge?
Yes.
No,
I told you to think about it, Josh.
I thought about it. It is not. I mean, I could tell you what some of the longest
it certainly
movies
feels
made.
like it.
Ooh,
It is
walked right into that.
17 hours long.
It's like 2 hours and 1 minute, I think.
Yeah, this movie should be 87 minutes long and have one song.
I think this movie is perfect. So I gave this movie 5 stars. Cooper gave this movie 2 stars. So I think I'm arguing on the highbrow. He's arguing on the lowbrow. I'm trying not to get too.
I think it's
testy,
lowbrow independently of me not really
really
enjoying the experience of watching it.
which is also I think because I still think it's like a highbrow movie, but I do see the arguments there.
The humor is very lowbrow.
Yeah, I think it is.
The set direction is very high. Although the set direction is like very campy. It's very campy.
I think. But okay, before we get into all that, let's just tell people what Moulin Rouge is.
Oh yeah,
Because
it's a red windmill. Okay, let's go.
We're
This
about to
movie
get
fucking
into it.
sucks.
So Moulin Rouge is a movie came out in 2001. It's a musical, stars Ewan McGregor, Nicole Kidman, and a whole bunch of other people.
Who's the ringmaster guy?
That's Jim Broadbent.
He's great.
Yeah, he is. Before we talk about Moulin Rouge, let's talk about how awesome Jim Broadbent is in this movie.
He's so good.
He is. It's like one of my favorite performances. Period. I think he's so funny. And it's so many weird choices he makes.
And it's fun because you think he's going to be the villain, and then he really doesn't turn out to be at all.
No, he is what he is. He's the ringmaster of the Moulin Rouge. He cares about the Moulin Rouge and about his people, and that's sort of his thing.
Yeah, he's just chaotic neutral. Or chaotic good.
This movie has so much of him, and every time it's like looks so effortless.
He's kind of like the MC from Cabaret.
Yes.
Where it's like a role that like doesn't have that much of a personality to it outside of his performances, but there's so much going on in the performances.
So he won an Oscar this year, not this year 2021, but the year of Moulin Rouge, but not for Moulin Rouge. He won for a biopic called Iris, which I have not seen. And I think the vibe that year was that that award was sort of like for both of them.
Oh, okay.
Like when Alicia Vikander won for the Danish Girl, but everyone was like, it's kind of for Ex Machina as well.
Right.
Because otherwise, I think
Oscars are so weird that way.
Because if it wasn't for that, like him not like walking to the Oscars, so this performance would be like a travesty. But I think it's just one of those things like, oh, well, he's got a higher brow with Iris.
Yeah.
So
What's Iris about?
It's about a woman named Iris.
Oh.
Sorry.
Well, that makes sense. It's not about an eyeball?
Or a flower. It's about I believe it's about an author, like a famous author or an artist, and he plays the husband role, and he's like supporting Judi Dench.
Got it.
I think Kate Winslet is in it in like the same role in a different era. I used to have this book about the Oscars that like went into every year and all the movies and what the campaigns were like, and that's what I'm drawing on right now. But I haven't read that book since college, really. So Jim Broadbent's great. So Moulin Rouge, directed by Baz Luhrmann, who is
an insane person,
a truly unique man.
What's another Baz movie?
Romeo plus Juliet.
Romeo plus Juliet. I like Romeo plus Juliet. I haven't seen it since high school.
I'm not as big a fan, but I'm also a pretty big fan of the book.
Of Romeo plus Juliet, the book that it's based on.
Then he's had some other weird. I mean, Strictly Ballroom was his breakout. I haven't seen that. I mean, then he has Australia and the Gatsby movie.
Australia's a big flop.
Yeah.
With the Huey Jacks.
Yes, it is also a musical, and I've never even heard.
I didn't even know it was a musical.
Right, because the trailer has no songs in it, and I've never. That movie is such a small footprint that I've never even accidentally heard a clip of anyone singing from it.
Also Nicole Kidman, right?
Yeah, also Nicole Kidman.
The famous Australians.
Yes. So I want to get the plot out of the way because we talked about it beforehand. Like we spent too much time on the plot. Let's just do some quick spoilers. Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Ewan
so
McGregor, he's a guy. He writes.
he moves much like Cabaret. He moves to
Too much
Paris.
detail. Too much detail. Too much detail.
Okay. He wants to
falls
write a
in
play.
Too much detail. Too much detail. Okay. He's a writer in Paris with a bunch of artists. He falls in love with a singer / prostitute. Satine, played by Nicole Kidman, at the Moulin Rouge, which is a can show / brothel. And they put on a show, and their love has to be secret because she has to pretend to be in love with the benefactor of the show, who is the Duke.
The Duke.
And then she just dies of tuberculosis.
Yeah, as everyone did.
Right. Okay. So
I mean, Ewan McGregor is going to die of tuberculosis.
Yeah.
Well, also because he's been making out with a woman with tuberculosis for
comes
17 hours.
Yeah. So that's the movie. What were we arguing about before I wanted to get the plot? Was just whether
this movie's good.
This movie's great.
It's just so long. It took me like 5 hours to watch this movie because I kept on having to like take breaks to do other stuff.
Let me cede a point to you very quickly.
Okay.
Which is a thing that normally I wouldn't like about a movie, but for some reason it works here. I think Moulin Rouge, this movie, has absolutely tremendous theater kid energy.
Yeah, that's not a selling point.
I know, and normally wouldn't because I have a very hate relationship with theater kids, and I think this movie is so try hard as well. Like that's kind of what I'm going for. It has this sort of haha, everybody look at me, don't make me sing like
which
vibes.
Makes sense because it is about those types of people.
Yes, and I think what makes this movie work for me is it's so shameless. Like, I feel like so many times movies like this, they're trying to be like, oh, everybody loves this. Everyone loves it. And, like, I feel like Moulin Rouge does not really care if it's cringy at times.
Certainly does not.
If it's, like, I think
doesn't care if the music is, like, enjoyable to listen to.
I think the, like, emotional earnestness of this movie is unlike anything that's, like, ever been put on film. Like, even just talking about, like, Nicole Kidman's performance in the scene
when
with the
she's
elephant.
Like, growl. Yeah, that's pretty crazy.
Like, that to me is the movie. Is like it is so balls to the wall, willing to be like what if you truly believed all the choruses of all the songs you love? And I think there's something like so like potent in that like this movie just freaking gets me that I think a lot of other musicals or theater kid kind of things don't quite get.
It's kind of like if Jeff Koons made a movie, but like okay, so I'd say one big thing, I like that aspect of it. Like I like how silly it is, like when they're all kind of like making stuff up as they go along and like they make up like pretty intricate plot for a movie, which is fun because that's not a thing that you could really do on the spot, but you just do it because it's a movie. And I do like that.
The pitch scene where they where the Duke catches are the two main characters and they have to pretend they were rehearsing a play that doesn't exist. So
yes.
Ziegler comes in, they basically do a song set to the can.
Yeah. And then it cuts. My favorite joke in the movie is it cutting to them just hopping up and down.
Yes.
That's very funny.
It's stuff like that. And like, I think in order to get moments like that, which them jumping up and down is just like, cause they're doing all this, that movie is so much choreography and fancy stuff and then just hopping.
Yeah. Yeah. I will say, I like the opening number. I like that number. I don't think the movie ever recaptures that energy or like fun. It's never fun again.
I think
it's just slow ass ballads and shitty covers.
I would disagree, but I also say you're forgetting the Like a Virgin scene. I think that scene is so funny.
Wait, when Ziegler?
Yes.
Okay, that's fun. That's fun. Yeah.
Where the Duke like gets.
But it's a bad cover of Like a Virgin.
I think it's a good cover because it's doing what it is trying to do.
I do think that the song choice, like the fact that it's like that's a jukebox musical, right?
Yeah.
The jukebox musical aspect of it really sinks it because they're all like the most horrible cover of Roxanne. Roxanne.
Oh, we're gonna have to. We're gonna have to pause so I can punch you in the nose.
Are you kidding? I like The Police. That song is a crime.
I'm 100%. I think that
actually this is like inverse La La Land, where it's like the dancing's really good and fun, and the music just sucks ass, and it just drags it down.
I feel like this episode's going to be like 20 minutes because it's just us going to be saying like you saying everything is bad. I'm saying everything is good.
Yeah.
No, I think the Tango Roxanne scene is brilliant. I think that song is awesome. Fun thing about that song is it's weirdly very common for figure skating.
Huh.
Like a lot of figure skaters use it, and like I think one of the figure skaters who used it won, I think either silver or bronze in the 2018 Winter Olympics. Like I was googling beforehand because I thought it was just like one. And apparently, it's just like very common, which is weird because you wouldn't think of it. It's like part of like what makes that sequence so like crackerjack for me is that it's very like rough around the edges. That it's very like like aggressive, and I think that really fits for like the emotions of that scene.
It like makes sense on paper, but it just is an assault on the ears. Like it just hurts my head to listen to because it's bad sounding. It just makes me sad and angry. Much like also like the fact that like it's weird because there's like the whole thing where like everything's like a weird mashup of like 4 songs.
Yes, which is great, which is a good thing.
It's just like so try-hardy and like trying to be cool but bad. I guess
I don't think it's trying to be cool. I think it's just trying.
I think it very the juke.
No.
I feel like any jukebox musical is like trying to be cool.
I don't think so. I think this movie is so out there that I don't think it cares if it's like hip or cool. Like I was alive in 2001. This was not in like I like saw this around that time. Like people did not watch this and think, oh wow, that's neat, or like this is what they're going for. I think like it's just this is just Baz's brain, and he's just like, hey everybody, look at my brain, and then that's his career.
See, but the thing is like if these were like original songs and were just like 30 slow ballads back to back, and then like a tango scene with like another like shitty growled ballad, I'd be like, okay, this is just music, a style of music I don't like, but it's Roxanne. I know I like Roxanne. This is bad.
But that's why I like the Roxanne, because like I think what this movie understands, and like that I think a lot of everything doesn't, is that
meth is fun.
Is that Bollywood is great. Is that like the songs we listen to and sing along to, we don't really listen to them very closely. We just sort of like, nod our heads, and we like the tune. It's the pumped up kicks joke of like everyone like sings along to that happy song that's about like a school shooting.
Yeah.
And I think this is like a movie that's just like takes every single pop song you like
at face value. You could also say that is just not listening to. It is just doing the same thing.
No, I think it's actually listening to the lyrics and like trying to like take that like when he sings "All You Need Is Love." Like everyone knows that song by the Beatles, and like the characters that in this movie react like, "All you need is love." Like you don't need like air, you don't need food. Like I think that level of like grappling with these lyrics as actually like saying things and not just like as like words to a beat is what makes this movie like really special. And I think that's what the Roxanne thing like gets. Like it's like the like absolute like emotional energy of like you don't have to sell your body to the night like that. I think Sting is really underselling it in his original.
I feel like Roxanne is one of those songs that like when you're young, people are like, don't you know that song's about like a prostitute, right? And you're like, yes, of course it is.
Yeah, that's
it's
very
the
obvious.
Text of the song.
Yes.
It's not like a hidden meaning.
Fun fact about the guy who sings the Tango de Roxanne, the narcoleptic Argentinian.
Yeah,
Polish, not Argentinian.
Oh,
yeah, Polish Australian.
We should cancel him. That is Argentinian erasure, and we do not stand for that.
There's another actor who I like.
Also Polish?
No,
Nicole Kidman's Polish?
It's the guy. Sorry, I know I'm off topic, but I had this. I don't know when we're ever going to get to this guy, but the
we have a new segment called Spot the Polak.
This guy who saves Satine when she's about to be like attacked by the Duke. He has very little lines in it.
He's also in the company with her.
Yeah, he catches her when she falls.
Yeah.
He
several times.
That actor Diobara Aparai was
cool.
I remember him because he was cast in Game of Thrones as one of the guardsmen in Dorne. And in the book, it's like a major character that's like very interesting.
Yeah.
And he did all these interviews, like how he loved the book. He was so excited for this role. People didn't understand that it was like actually kind of like a very like crucial piece of this. And like all those pictures of him, like I did all this axe training on my own time just because I loved the books. I think.
That guy, big axe guy.
Yeah. And then he
kind of just holds a big axe.
Right. He has no lines and he dies in 3 episodes. And I remember seeing that and just being like, this poor man, because he and I think I've seen him in stuff since. I think he's a very good actor. But I just remember that being just like the saddest thing. So now that every time I see that man's face, I'm just like, man, you deserve better. We all deserve better, but you deserve better too,
He just gets
buddy.
cast to hold things. Holding an axe, holding Nicole Kidman. They saw in Moulin Rouge, like, this guy looks like he could hold an axe. Nicole Kidman is about as heavy as an axe.
Let's talk... let's move on from the Roxanne sequence, because I think we've before we punch each other in the
Roxanne.
It's so good. I know you hate it. Well, that's tough.
Just,
like, we're both like feeling a different part of an elephant here. We're both staring at an elephant, and I'm like,
yeah, and I'm like, that elephant is clearly sick.
And I'm like, that elephant is doing his best, and it's great.
I think it's also like, I don't really like love ballads.
I mean,
And
that'll
that's
hurt you.
most of this movie, which I understand is not really the movie's fault, but like I usually I understand a movie like this to have like one of those songs or two maybe, not 13 back to back.
In 3 minutes, in
Yeah.
one sequence.
And then another sequence where they do that again.
Yeah, it's great. I love it. No
Yeah.
notes.
I don't know.
I
was just
have
like
notes, but I don't
was
know
like
who am
8
I to
hours
say.
into this movie. I was like, I can't listen to All You Need Is Love for the 15th time.
I also a thing I do like the movie kind of sneaks in a lot of bunch of songs you don't remember. Like it does Nature Boy, Been at King Cole like a bunch of times. Like I always forget that that's a thing it does. I mean, it always. I know it's like a big one, but the throwing in Smells Like Teen Spirit.
Oh, I did like that a lot. I
so
love
great.
little marching guys in
Yeah.
the tuxedo, or not even tuxedos. They're like
They're kind of tuxedos, like old timey tuxedos.
whatever. What are the things with tails are called for like white tie events?
Oh right, yeah. I forgot
Yeah.
white tie is like a thing.
Those are great. I like their little. The choreography is really good in this movie. Really well choreographed.
Yeah.
Especially great at like little steps and little jumps. Great inclusion.
Funny thing is,
I hate that they're called Diamond Dogs. It's super lame, and I hate it. And I got so mad.
which is funny because that's a Ted Lasso thing now. So all you
Yeah.
think of was Ted Lasso.
That's pretty funny.
I don't know why the theater kid energy works for me so well here, and in no other thing that has that energy.
Yeah, it's funny because it makes me think of A Knight's Tale, which is a movie that does a very similar thing with like
Queen.
Well, yeah, and just including modern songs in a period context. I mean, the brilliant part of A Knight's Tale is that like, oh, they're singing "We Will Rock You" at like essentially a sports venue, so you get the same vibe as you would for like a football game, but it's a jousting event, which is what it would have felt like to be there.
Yeah.
Which is also what they do here with like the can. Because like it's like how in like Deadwood they can't swear like they would at the time because they'd just be saying like "God darn it,"
Yeah.
and it wouldn't like they wouldn't be scary.
Yeah.
You get the energy of this like awesome venue that would have been like the happening place.
Right, in a way that is translated in a way that you like will grok, that
Yeah.
you will actually like get.
Yeah, and it's great. And then they do 17 love ballads for like 2 years.
I guess the issue here is you don't like love.
I certainly don't want to hear about it for that long.
See, I do. I think. I mean, this is a movie.
I don't
that is-
dislike love. I don't like that style of music.
I think this is a movie that like obviously wears not just its own heart on its sleeve, like just sleeves.
It's just
hearts
taping
down
hearts
the
to sleeves.
way. This just came to me, but remember Interstellar, a movie I don't particularly care for.
I have not seen.
There's a speech that Anne Hathaway gives in the middle that was somewhat I don't know. The internet didn't like it. It was like she just talks about how like love is so important that it like transcends space and time. And like in the middle of Interstellar, which is a movie that really tries to be like, I'm using quote marks, like realistic about space travel and like all this other kind of stuff. I don't think it lands super well. Although there's some people like that.
Yeah.
And I feel like this movie is like that energy, but like it's the whole movie. Like that's why it works for me. It's like it's a movie that genuinely believes like when the literal transcendent power of being in love with someone. And like that is like the full energy of that thing, and all those songs and all of that. And like if that's not something you want to buy into or like that works for you, then like this movie must be like being stabbed in the ear.
I mean, I don't think it failed at doing that, and that's why I didn't enjoy it. I think that's cool that you got that out of it, but it doesn't bother me that I didn't get that out of it. Mm-hmm. Okay, so we both work in the entertainment industry, and watching this, I was just like, this fucking dumbass writer got the biggest, luckiest break of his life, and he's just fucking porking the main cast, and he's gonna fuck up everything. I'm just like, God damn it, you got your first play produced. I would kill to be in your position, and you're just spending the whole time singing at the lead actress, trying to sink this play.
Because that's how important
these
love is.
Stupid, pretty people just running around set, being worthless and not understanding how hard it is to get things made.
Because that's how important love is to that. Like that's what I think the movie's like saying is like all these like real world, like yeah, it would be if you could just like be chill and just like have an affair, like things would work out. But like love is so powerful to him and to them that like it's willing to break all
This
that
man does not
logic.
deserve to be the writer of a play.
But he does deserve to be in love with the woman and have her love him back. And
No,
that's what the movie is saying.
He does not. He shouldn't have been there. No, and just like poor Ziegler is like, I put everything on the line to produce this stupid show for because my actress wants so desperately to be an actress.
But he
and then
also
she's
wants to
fucking
be.
it up.
I think he also wants to be a little more legitimate. Like
Yeah.
he also has that desire to. I think he enjoys being the ringmaster of the Moulin Rouge, but also he wants to.
They all want legitimacy.
Right, and I think that's like very understandable. But I think he's also like on her side. Like he's not like talking down to her for being in love. It's just more like this isn't going to work because the Duke will kill you, and also you're dying anyway. Like,
I think he's also like, stop fucking up my production that I put together.
I don't really see that energy in him very much. I think it's a lot more like he doesn't get mad at her really for doing it.
He's just like, you can't do it.
Right. Yeah. It's a lot more like reasonable of like you're dying. He'll kill you. This can't happen. It's not like he's not like mad at her on a personal level.
I would be.
Yes. But you're also not Harold Ziegler, ringmaster of the Moulin Rouge.
Yeah. God damn it. I couldn't do that.
No one can but Jim Broadbent. It's such a good performance.
He's very good.
It's like insane.
Yeah.
I do love John Leguizamo as Toulouse-Lautrec.
I did not realize that was John Leguizamo.
Yeah, not something you get away with anymore.
Is he supposed to be literally Toulouse-Lautrec?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Because like I said, I think, like I said when we were not recording, Moulin Rouge started as a book about Toulouse-Lautrec, and then, which is not like super well remembered. I think that was loosely adapted. This is from me reading Wikipedia a week ago. Loosely adapted into a musical in the 50s,
Right.
Which is like a pretty standard Hollywood musical, and then this one is pretty much just an original work.
Did they ever mention him being a painter?
No.
Yeah.
Never.
That's why I was confused about him, whether he was supposed to like literally be Toulouse-Lautrec or they just used that name.
Yeah.
And just like heavily changed him.
I mean, so this was the first time when I saw this movie I'd even heard the name Toulouse-Lautrec.
Oh yeah, famous French painter, hung out in brothels a lot.
Yeah. So and then I didn't know who he was until he
He's
pops
great.
up in Midnight in Paris as like a it's this whole thing of like Woody Allen, not Woody Allen, Owen Wilson playing Woody Allen.
Often confused.
Well, he's playing the Woody Allen role, but
Okay.
he's like his whole thing is he idolizes, the lost generation in Paris, and so he sometimes travels back in time there because that's what the movie's about. And then when he gets there, he meets someone who is always idolizing like the Belle Epoque and idolizing Toulouse-Lautrec. And the idea is that you can always look back to something else that's idealized.
That's cool.
Oh yeah, good movie. We probably won't cover it. I don't know.
I don't know.
When would we?
Would have been a time travel one actually.
That would be neat. Just time travel romance. I mean, Midnight in Paris is good. I don't know that we want to get into the Woody Allen of it all.
Yeah, it's tough.
Yeah, I mean, I understand. Like, I mean, a lot of great movies from Woody Allen. I think I do really understand the impulse to just wait it out until he dies to talk about him again.
Yeah.
I think it's fine. What have we another 6-7 ones?
I've never been. You got something in the works?
I think Time's got something in the works.
Yeah. Yeah, I've never been a big Woody Allen fan, so it kind of is easier for me to ignore his movies.
It's hard to explain unless you're like a nebbish New York Jew, but like he speaks to people like that.
Yeah. Yes, as a Grecian god carved of stone, I cannot relate.
That's all that's surfing.
Yeah. Which I didn't do today. I just drove to a beach, looked at the water, and came back because I forgot my wetsuit.
It's funny. We've already hit a lot of the sequences I wanted to talk about.
Yeah, I think we're almost done.
Yeah.
It's going to be the shortest episode.
No, I do. So one thing we haven't done is talk about the highbrow lowbrow of it at all.
Oh, right. Well, okay. I think Jukebox Musical, lowbrow.
Yeah.
A lot of like slapstick humor, lowbrow.
Yeah.
A lot of really giant performances, lowbrow.
I would push back on that slightly.
Like
It
like
depends.
Toulouse, like Leguizamo's performances, and all of like the little theater nerds in the beginning, their performances.
Because there's like there's lowbrow big performances like Will Ferrell, like Ricky Bobby, like that's like very broad and slapsticky, which I think people see as lowbrow. But then there's like Al Pacino chewing scenery, which reads as highbrow, even though like I think it's not always the best acting. Although I do really appreciate that.
I mean, I would say Jim Broadbent is highbrow chewing scenery in this.
Right. I think
he's like a lot like the MC in Cabaret, where he's just like it's a giant role that is just like so good and fun.
Yeah. No, I would 100% agree. I mean, I think on the acting note, I think it varies among the cast. Like, I think the Duke is kind of like right on the line where like he's so cartoonish, but it's kind of what I like about that role.
Yeah, he's very cartoonish. But like all the little theater guys, like the Paul Schaefer as
Is that Paul Schaefer?
No.
I was thinking like
it's a bald guy who plays piano in
think
the
it
movie.
is. I think it looks like Moby, but it also isn't Moby.
Yeah, it also could be Moby. Easily could be Moby.
Or Jim Rash. It's just, yeah.
Oh yeah, Jim Rash would be good in this.
Paul Shear, just famous bald white men.
The Bald Whites.
They could start a barbershop quartet.
Yeah. Well, that'd be pretty ironic because none of them have hair. Who's the other one? Corey Stoll.
Corey Stoll. I mean, I think
Corey Stoll and Paul Shear get confused for each other a lot.
yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sure Paul Shear, people walk up to him and be like, I thought you were taller and more handsome.
Hey, don't you say about Paul Shear. I love Paul Shear.
No, it's more that Corey Stoll is a very handsome man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As is Paul Shear.
I do like Paul Shear. I've been listening to a lot more How Did This Get Made
I love that
recently.
show.
He's really, really good on that show. Right, so the acting, I do agree that I'll say this. I don't think it's like a slam dunk that Moulin Rouge is like a highbrow movie. I don't think that like it's not like I watched Bright Star this week, and that's like a very hoity-toity period piece. I'm like, okay, highbrow, like check it off. But, like I think Moulin Rouge does have a lot of lowbrow tendencies, like the jukebox musical of it all, the slapstick humor. Although you can see that in highbrow stuff sometimes.
Yeah, for sure. And I will say the highbrow stuff is like the set design is not only like beautiful and like intricate and well crafted, but also like it's got like a big concept for the set, which is basically just like it's like a theater stage. Because I think it seems like everything in the movie is taking place on one set, and they're just kind of like moving from like part to part of this like stage.
Especially towards the end. I think once they get out of the apartment, it always feels like they're on a stage somewhere.
Yeah, because like you can see the Moulin Rouge from like. Well, I guess the elephant's in the Moulin Rouge.
Yes.
I got confused about the elephant. I feel like the elephant moves around.
Yeah, I think it's in the courtyard of the Moulin Rouge.
Right.
Is the idea.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I agree with all that. I think
and like the backdrops are like obviously backdrops, but like not in like a Marnie. This just sucks as a backdrop way. It's like on purpose, but it looks good.
Yeah. What's that reference, Marnie?
In Marnie, there's one scene where they're at like a shipyard. And it's just like a big old shitty painting of a ship, and it sucks. I hate Marnie.
Marnie? Am I
The Hitchcock movie.
Oh, yeah. I was like breaking my head. I was like, Marty?
Yeah, Marty. Yeah, it's not a notable part of Marnie. I shouldn't have said that. Like you would have known what I was talking
That's
about.
fair. I mean, Marnie's one I just haven't seen. It's one of those kind of like next tier of Hitchcock that I haven't like plumbed down to
I only
yet.
saw it because I took a Hitchcock class in college.
Oh yeah,
I mean, one film class I took that taught me I hate Hitchcock.
Yeah, it's funny because like you've talked a lot about how much you like Hitchcock is just like not your guy.
Yeah, that's why.
Yeah, I mean, I've taken a lot of film classes, but like and some of which I didn't like, but. I mean, I like the class in like filmmaker, but it's really funny. The one you took is the guy who just doesn't speak to you at all.
Yeah, we didn't have a film program, so slim pickings.
In Princeton?
No. They have like the film. They had a kind of a film department that was like a subset of the visual arts department, but there were only 4 people in it.
Interesting.
And it wasn't really like a real film production program.
Yeah, because I went to a small liberal arts school in the Midwest, and we had I guess now I'm thinking how lucky I was to have it. They had a really good film department, a lot of good like film classes. They had just started to get like more equipment and stuff in there.
That's cool.
Yeah, good stuff. Never took a Hitchcock class though. I did watch a lot of Hitchcock movies for like my genre film class, things like that.
That's cool. Yeah, I think I would have benefited from taking like kind of like a survey class. On,
just like an intro to.
Honestly, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, they're cool. I mean, I will say some of the early, it's like, how many times you need to watch Birth of a Nation to understand cross-cutting. Like, I think some of the other classes I took were a little more interesting once you get past that. But you do need to learn the theory. I don't know, whatever. This is a pro film theory and studying film podcast, I guess.
Yeah.
We'll talk about something else because this is getting really dry. So Moulin Rouge.
Let's wet this down.
Highbrow, because I'll make a couple points. I mean, I agree that the set dressing all very highbrow. I think 2 things. One thing that doesn't really matter, but kind of matters, is how the movie is positioned in its release. I think this movie doesn't always matter, but like it was positioned as like a big Oscar play. It's a big period piece.
Yeah.
It's trying to say like, the movie itself is trying to say like, this is an important movie.
Yeah.
Or maybe not important, but certainly heavy.
Why is period almost always highbrow just because it's expensive?
I think so. I also think that period, it's harder to do classic lowbrow stuff in period unless you're doing a parody.
Yeah.
Like you can't really do like Extraction in the Belly Pock, Extraction, the Chris Hemsworth movie.
I'm kind of into it though.
No, I mean, we should write that movie and sell it right now.
Yeah.
But like, it's hard.
Well, it's hard. It's also hard to sell because it's like 5 times as expensive as it would be otherwise.
Right, and like I think it's also the market speaking. Like people who want to see period pieces want to see those kind of heavier highbrow stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, I think the market for like Pride and Prejudice might not be in the market for Pride and Prejudice and Zombies.
Yeah, I think it's like the same as like there's no lowbrow black and white movies because people who like lowbrow movies would reject them.
Right. Yeah, I've told that story when I saw Casino Royale.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the guy who was sitting next to you almost walked out of the theater because the opening 2 seconds of that, or like 30 seconds of that movie's in black and white, and he was like furious that I tricked him into seeing a black and white movie.
Yeah. You forget, I mean, as like people who watch a lot of movies, you forget how much people like cannot stand black and white.
It's a bummer, and it's coming back a little more. I feel like, we got more black and white movies this year. I mean, Tragedy of Macbeth is one that's obviously very like, just very visually out there. Like Belfast and Roma and things like that.
Yeah, I would say it's hard to make a case for making a modern black and white movie usually.
Yeah, you have to. It basically has to be like an art film. It has to be an
Yeah.
artist who said, "This is like my soul speaks in black and white today."
Yeah. Yeah.
So Moulin highbrow. So how it's positioned, I think, matters. It's not like, you can't just take the movie at face value. If a movie says I'm important, I can say no, you're not. But and the period piece and the setting, the story, doomed love story. People die at the end of a movie. Highbrow.
Well, romance, not necessarily a highbrow.
Not necessarily, but I think doomed romance usually highbrow. Usually.
Yeah, I guess because like rom-coms are not doomed romances.
Right. It's right there in the com.
Yeah. Well, no, you can have a rom-com where they just don't get together in the end.
That's true, but they usually don't die.
Oh, you're talking
Again,
about, you're talking about
usually.
like, okay, actually dying.
Oh, yeah, sorry. Doom is a heavy word. Doom.
I thought you meant doomed in terms of like doomed to break up.
Yeah, I would not describe like the Jennifer Aniston movie, The Breakup, as a doomed romance. Just sort of an annoying one.
What if that was the pull quote for it? Like a doomed romance. You're like, oh, I got to see this.
I don't remember anything about that movie. So
I think they break up.
I think so too. I remember Jon Favreau is very funny in that movie.
He's always fun.
He's like the friend, and he's just sort of like trying to make that movie interesting. I don't know. Maybe it's good. Maybe I can go back and it'll be like a little better. I don't know.
Is there a pairing we could do it
With The Breakup?
Yeah.
Marriage Story?
Oh God. Oh God. God. Yeah. The more recent trend of just like movies about like normies being married is there's no genre I care about less than just like, yeah, scenes from a marriage. I'm like, great. I don't want to see that. I don't want to see people's scenes from marriages.
That was a weird one because that's like a very famous, very acclaimed Ingmar Bergman series
Oh.
from the 70s. And like, man, I would not have the chutzpah to try and attempt to remake an Ingmar Bergman movie.
No.
The other thing I think about Moulin Rouge that's highbrow, it kind of goes back to my emotional earnestness argument, is that I think it's any movie that's doing kind of out there, experimental, like very aggressive directorial choices.
Yeah.
I think is much more highbrow than not necessarily, just because Star Wars has a tracking shot doesn't make it highbrow. But this movie is very much trying to have a very specific and often off-putting when it wants to be aesthetic.
Yeah, no, there's a lot of visual decisions in this movie.
Yeah, and I think that kind of thing reads as highbrow to me. I think ultimately what put me over onto the highbrow side is that like this is a movie that is more a voice of this specific person, Baz Luhrmann's like heart, brain, artistic temperament, than it is trying to play into other stuff. Which a lot of times when the lowbrow movie is trying to like be a certain template, which is often not always but often thing. And I think this movie is so unique and so earnest. It's just brain stuff vomiting everywhere. But
Yeah, no, for me it's like a meth head who found a ball gown. Like, yes, it looks nice, but underneath that, there's just a lot of just incoherent screaming thoughts and actions.
Anyway, that's what I think is much more on the highbrow side is basically I think it's I think that's the voice. I think it's more interesting that way. I think like it's trying to do interesting things. I think the nod is, I'm trying to think of like another jukebox musical. Like Mamma Mia is probably like the nod is the lowbrower version.
Yeah, jukebox musicals. Yeah, I guess like
Or like
Jersey Boys?
Rock of Ages, maybe. I haven't seen Rock of Ages, but I think that's kind of what this movie's doing.
Yeah.
And I mean, you could do a jukebox musical that's just unabashedly highbrow. Like that's not even like a question. I just don't know how. You can do anything. Art's interesting.
I mean, yeah, like I guess the song choices, because usually jukebox musicals are like pop songs, but
Right.
there's other songs.
Right. What if you just only did just like
Brian Eno.
Yeah, it was
Just sounds.
the LCD sound system jukebox musical?
I'd be into that.
That would be really, really sad. I mean, that's
It'd be a house party and Daft Punk would show up.
right. Ewan McGregor. Let's talk about Ewan McGregor. Just
He's
'cause
great. He's in a lot of lowbrow stuff. He's in like a wide range of quality of movies.
I think he's a really interesting actor for if you just track his career.
Yeah,
Like,
like you got
blows-
starts off with Trainspotting.
blows up with like this huge performance in this huge movie, like a huge artistic movie,
Yeah, from his native Scotland.
and then he has the falling out with Danny Boyle,
Right.
and then he's in like Star Wars and stuff like that for a while.
Yeah, I feel like he kind of got. Well, what did he do right after Star Wars?
I'm trying to
Did he
think.
get stuck in like big blockbuster stuff?
I'm trying to think because that's the thing because I obviously know him.
Oh,
and
he's also in Wanted, right?
no,
No, he's not Wanted?
No, that's James McAvoy. Did McAvoy just secretly take all the Hugh McGregor roles?
Maybe.
Because McGregor's in TV now. He was in Halston. He won an Emmy for that, and he's very good in Fargo.
Oh yeah, he's very good in Fargo. I
Yeah.
love Fargo.
No, I think he's a really, really good actor. I really like him in this movie, although I don't think he's the standout as much as Nicole Kidman and especially Jim Broadbent are.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, his character is a little bit less interesting as just a person than Nicole Kidman's character.
Yeah. And I also want to give credit where, we always talk about, is it the writing, is the performance? I do think Nicole Kidman is doing a lot in this movie.
Oh yeah,
I think it is
her
a really good
role
performance.
doesn't have to be interesting, and it is.
And it's one, like I said, it's the fearlessness of her, like, willing to be cringy and weird and unlikable in the scenes, especially like the scene of the elephant, and she just hits every beat. It's a really good performance.
Oh, he was in Black Hawk Down.
Oh, you're right. I forgot. Man, every like white man between the ages of like 23 and 29 in 2000 was in that movie.
Okay, let's see. So then, so there's Star Wars Episode 2 after that. So like in between Star Wars Episode 1 and 2, he does Moulin Rouge, Black Hawk Down. And then after 2, he's in Big Fish. He's young Ed Bloom. He's in Robots, which might have been bad for him.
I have seen Robots.
Rodney Copperbottom.
Rodney Copperbottom?
Yeah.
I have seen Robots. I remember very little, except it's a lot of Robin
he the
Williams.
lead?
Yes, he's the
Yeah.
lead. Robin Williams is like the sidekick. Mel Brooks is in that movie.
Oh.
And that's everything I remember. And then there's like an evil corporation of like bad robots.
Right. That sounds silly.
Let's pair up Robots with Ex Machina.
Okay.
Okay.
Or Ex Machina and iRobot. The Will Smith.
I think that would actually be better because iRobot, I think, is going for the same themes as Ex Machina.
Yeah, it's very much about what it means to be a robot.
Right. not what it means to be alive. What it means to be a robot.
Yeah. Will Smith can't convincingly play alive.
Yeah.
He's in The Island and then a bunch of stuff I don't recognize.
Yeah, Island's bad movie.
Yeah. Oh, I Love You, Philip Morris, which I think is supposed to be good.
He's very good in that.
Yeah.
Yeah, him and Jim Carrey. That's a very unique movie. I think it's sort of like it's hard to describe, but I think it's worth checking out.
Yeah. Then Angels and Demons, Men Who Stare at Goats, Beginners. He's doing like a lot of kind of indie stuff. Oh, Haywire.
Oh, he's good in Haywire.
Yeah.
He's not into much of it, but
He's in A Million Ways to Die in the West. Oh man, I saw that on a date one time. Okay, so it was one of those things where like you're like, okay, somebody has just started seeing recently. Let's go out. We want to go out to see a movie, and then like she suggests A Million Ways to Die in the West. Internally, I'm like panicking because I'm like, I know
this movie's not.
This is not going to be good, and I know that you specifically are going to hate it. But I also don't want to be the guy that's like shooting down your movie ideas. So I'm like, yeah, let's go see A Million Ways to Die in the West, and she did not like it, did not care for it. We didn't stay together that long after.
Yeah, I heard that movie's not very good.
No, there's one really funny joke, which is in the trailer, so you can just watch that, where the ice block falls on the
I have
head.
seen that, yeah.
It's very funny.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's a really good idea for a Family Guy skit of like, it's easy to die in the old times.
Yeah.
And then there's a whole movie.
Yeah.
I don't think we can ever, I don't know what we'd do with that and Blazing Saddles. Like,
I guess you don't want to do that paired with any
thing.
just a Western.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, Blazing Saddles isn't highbrow.
No, I mean, it's higher brow than.
Yes. Yeah, certainly. Yeah, Neil Patrick Harris shits into a hat like 4 times in that movie.
What is this movie about?
I don't remember, honestly. Neil Patrick, he shits in a hat a bunch of times. It's like a big set piece in the movie.
Yeah. I want to talk about Moulin Rouge a little bit.
Oh, yeah.
I feel like we're getting off topic, but also because I think we don't want to like kill each other because we just disagree about this movie.
The thing is, like, I came into this movie wanting to like it because I remembered it. I remembered liking it more than I enjoyed watching it.
Yeah.
Because I think like now, even looking back on it now, I'm like, oh, it's so cool. They did so many cool things. It has such great energy. You kind of remember like the good parts of the song. I remember like the dance numbers without having to like hear the songs in my head.
Yeah.
And yeah, on paper, it's great. And I love it. I just don't enjoy the experience of watching it. And it is such a long experience. This movie should be 87 minutes long and have 2 songs.
It's funny you mentioned because when I sat down to watch it, I started a little later that night just because I was busy that day. And I was like, oh man, I remember this movie being kind of long. And I sat down and it was like, oh, it's like 2 hours. And it was not like a long experience for me. I think I remembered it as being long because it's just so much.
Yeah.
It's Baz Luhrmann, who is known as being really indulgent and very like particular and like and very expensive. So like I thought any Baz Luhrmann movie would be like very long and like because no one can tell him to cut anything. But this movie's not. I think it's like 2 hours, a little over.
Yeah, but I feel like this, even if you are on board with everything in this movie, I think it could have benefited from being trimmed a little bit.
Yeah, maybe. I don't. But the thing, it's
You get rid of one of the ballads, maybe.
it's this thing of I don't want it is a slippery slope argument where I don't want to like I don't want to say like, oh, this should be trimmed a little bit, because I think part of what makes this movie work for me is how like untrimmable it is. Like how like
I mean,
Baz
you're
Luhrmann
never
is just,
gonna you're never gonna get like a tight plot out of this thing.
like it's because this movie works because Baz didn't trim anything, I think. And I think you could, and I think it might be better, but like I feel like if you told Baz to trim, like come at this movie from the perspective of, oh, you could trim a little bit there, trim a little that, like you wouldn't get just the sheer like extravaganza of this thing.
Like,
but
honestly,
also that's like impossible to argue.
The Roxanne number is the thing you could trim without any effect to the movie.
I think well, no, it actually does have plot relevance because during that sequence, it's like the Duke realizes they're in love. He
Not by watching the song,
because
though.
he gets jealous during the whole sequence while the song is playing.
Oh yeah,
like the whole thing is Christian is getting jealous, which also is very important to his actions later in the movie, because when he goes to like, you know, because he thinks Satine has like abandoned him. He goes out into the street, and then, you know, Satine also is like kind of tempted by the Duke because she has been on the streets before, and I mean, I think that's
when
like,
she's getting the necklace, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
That's all the same sequence. And then she sees Christian on the street down below and says no, and then the Duke flips out.
Yeah.
And because he sees him too. And then that's what kind of starts the downhill of like, I'm going to kill Christian. You have to tell Christian. You have to Old Yeller Christian.
Yeah.
By just, you know, I don't want you anymore, boy. You know, or
Yeah.
not Old Yeller, White Fang. We had this conversation.
Yeah, it's White Fang.
It's
White Fang.
I'm editing the episode.
Old Yeller
now.
is when he shoots him in the head and the back.
Right.
White Fang is when he just yells at him.
Right. This is now. I'm editing the episodes now, and this came up in another episode.
We should just have we should have a post-it on the wall of like what happens to Old Yeller and what happens in White Fang.
Just things that always come up. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's like that, and Paul Giamatti is on Billions.
Yeah. Yeah.
And also, I think that, I mean, I know you don't like that sequence, but I think the sequence is very good.
The dancing's great.
Yeah, I mean, we don't have to relitigate that. Although I do. I mean, I listen to that song just like at the gym sometimes.
Yes, Roxanne. Roxanne is a good song.
No, the Tango de
You
Roxanne.
monster.
It's very good at the gym just because it's like very propulsive, like very good for just like getting big and strong.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Like I don't know. That's what I like about the movie. Is that like it's untrimmable. It's so unique. Like Baz, I think I've only ever seen Romeo plus Juliet of his, which didn't really work for me as much. But
Romeo plus
the
Juliet is
swing.
very silly.
I appreciate the swing. I think it does interesting things, but it doesn't feel like it gets Romeo and Juliet to me. And I don't know. I haven't seen Australia. I haven't seen The Get Down, which apparently was the most expensive TV show ever for 6 episodes.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was like a very early Netflix, like first like 6 Netflix shows.
Yeah, I remember hearing about that. I don't remember what it's about at all.
It's like a bunch of kids growing up and they like music, and it's a musical.
Yeah.
I think it was very good, but it was because it was Baz, it was very expensive.
Yeah.
And I think that's what you get with Baz Luhrmann.
Yeah.
And that's why he's
I appreciate that he is definitely an auteur.
He's a
definitely
capital A artist.
making a bunch of decisions,
Yeah.
and he has a singular vision. It's just insane, and I don't like it.
It's so unique. I don't know. I'm trying to think of another artist who is so. I mean, because obviously, like Wes Anderson is another example.
Lars von Trier.
Of someone who like every frame, like those might be the only two who you could, if you watch 3 seconds of any other movie, you would immediately know whose movie it is.
Oh, I see.
You know, like
You mean visually?
Yeah, who are so insanely visually distinctive. I mean, obviously, you know, like a lot of directors you can recognize.
Yeah.
But Baz is so unique, and also Baz is someone who like everyone knows. Even though I think he hasn't had like a...
I thought I knew more Baz Luhrmann movies than I did. I just
There's
know
4.
him as like... Yeah, I just...
5.
I think... I'm like, oh yeah, Baz. We all know Baz and love him. An insane man.
He has this like space in the cultural consciousness, even though he does not make a lot of movies, and not all of them are super well remembered. I guess Gatsby was a huge hit. I think people forget. how much
I
money it
watched that
made.
recently.
Oh, is it any good?
No.
Oh,
It looks fair. It's much kind of a lot like Moulin Rouge, where like it has like one really big set piece in the beginning. It's like awesome, and
Yeah.
it never really recaptures that.
yeah. I mean, my issue with adaptations of Gatsby is they always lean in so much to the extravagance, and they never really get like what makes its story like really sad and beautiful.
It does do the similar move of using kind of modern music to...
I have heard that.
Which honestly, in Gatsby, it's a great idea because 20s music just doesn't read as like party music.
No.
But it really is like, it's the roaring 20s. It's like everything's a big party. And like if you were there and a person of that time, it would have felt like you were at like, I don't know, a Diplo show.
Right, yeah. It would have been loud and angry and like not angry, but like just fucking crazy.
Yeah. Yeah. High energy, like really fun, like just fun, like, yeah, fun energy, which movie like understands how to make you have that feeling.
Yeah.
Without using and that you can't really do it with contemporary music unless you're just really a fan of like 20s music.
Yeah, I think that's a good take. I think that's like a good thing. I mean, good take from Baz, good take from you. I don't know. My whole thing Gatsby is they was trying to make it a love story and it's kind of not.
Yeah. And then like I don't love the performances.
Leo's an interesting.
Leo's good at everything.
He's a very interesting casting.
Yeah.
I don't know. I haven't seen that performance. I do want to see it just for that.
Yeah. I don't think of Gatsby as that like handsome and like.
I see him as handsome, but he's a little more like, I don't know. Like Robert Redford played him in the 70s, and like that's not a very good movie, but he's like a very he like is Gatsby because he's Robert Redford.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's hard to say without seeing the Leo performance, and I don't think I've ever seen a Leo performance I disliked.
Yeah, I think Toby is the part that's the weak point for me.
Yeah. No.
And I like Tobey Maguire.
Oh.
I love him as Peter Parker. I think he's the perfect Peter Parker. Picked a pack of pickled peppers.
I can't back up anymore.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm not a huge Tobey Maguire guy. I think he's fine. Apparently not a great person.
Yeah.
Probably going to show up in the next, I don't know, there's all these Spider-Man leaks. He might be Spider-Man again.
Oh.
Yeah. Good for him.
Cool.
Yeah.
Was he in the Pussy Posse?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was him, Leo, and then just like a
David
bunch
Blaine.
of people who were not famous.
David Blaine's my favorite inclusion in
Like
that.
J.R. Ferguson, Lucas Haas.
Yeah.
A Khan, maybe? Scott Khan?
Oh, maybe? It's James Caan.
It's James Caan. James, you should, if you don't, you should follow James Caan on Twitter. He ends every tweet with end of tweet.
I like that.
And it's all pretty wholesome. It's just
That way
sort of
you know.
like, it's just like him like remembering things from his long and illustrious career. I'm not being ironic or like mean to James Caan. For Jesus, it's genuinely a really nice follow.
No, I enjoy that. I'm not going to join Twitter for it, but
No, you shouldn't. I rejoined Twitter like 4 or 5 months ago. Like I really around when we started this podcast because I felt like, all right, we should have like some sort of presence on Twitter between the two of us, and it's like it just makes me angry.
And I was just like, I would rather post 8.5 by 11 sheets of paper on telephone poles than rejoin Twitter.
I think you're right. I think Twitter's not good for my brain. I do enjoy it and got good jokes sometimes.
Yeah.
I like following film Twitter when they talk about film, which is rare, unfortunately.
Yeah. Like any subgroup on the internet is mostly dedicated to hating that thing.
Yeah. I do enjoy the Martin Scorsese discourse when it happens constantly.
Oh, yeah.
Which is basically whenever Marvel does anything good, a bunch of idiots come out of the woodwork and are like, Martin Scorsese couldn't do that. And it's just I just like see.
Yeah, and you're like, nor would he want to.
Yeah, exactly. I remember like when WandaVision, there's a quote that went a little viral. It was like a line about grief. From that show.
Oh, yeah, I
And
remember.
there were people like, oh, no, Martin Scorsese hasn't a line like that in one of his movies in years. I'm like, have you seen Silence? Silence is 3 hours of just that. That movie is not good. Well, it's good if you're very religious. It's an interesting movie. It's Martin Scorsese. But like, if you just want like people saying sad things about grief and death and like afterlife, fucking check out Silence. That's what it is.
Yeah.
Watch a movie that doesn't have capes.
All right. Is Gangs of New York the lowest brow Marty movie?
No, Cape Fear. No, Boxcar Bertha.
Oh, well, I haven't seen that. I forgot about the existence of that.
No,
I feel like that's like a prequel to Marty.
Gangs of New York, I think, would probably be on the upper half of.
I feel like Gangs of New York is kind of like Moulin Rouge. Like, actually, we could do high or low
for Gangs of New York, but then I'd have to watch Gangs of New York.
It's so long.
It's very long, and I think it actually.
I don't think it's a good movie.
I agree. I don't think it's a good movie. I think it's doing interesting. Like, there's stuff to talk about because it's Marty.
Yeah,
it's Martin Scorsese. Even his shitty movies have like really interesting things.
I think we're gonna have to do it.
Can we like wait a little while?
And I'm gonna do it in full costume. I'm gonna have a top hat.
I think
I'm gonna have some blades.
I think that would be an interesting episode because I think we both agree on it a little more, but we're probably gonna take different things out of it. Mm-hmm. But also we get to talk about Danny Day.
Oh yeah, DDL.
Yeah, DDL.
We all love him.
The man, the myth, the legend.
Yeah. DDL sounds like a wrestling move. I guess it's DDT.
Yeah,
is the move. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean. Anything else you want to say about Moulin Rouge? I mean, I think I've spoken my piece about this movie that I think is really special to me.
I think we've plumbed the depths of Moulin Rouge. I will say I don't even know if I think it's a bad movie. I just did not enjoy watching it.
I think that's like fair. I mean, I can't really like take that away from you. I mean, I can't say what I like about it is that it's unafraid of being hated and then get mad at you for hating it. You know, like that's the game you play with when you make something like Moulin Rouge.
Yeah, and I feel like honestly, I think maybe I just don't like jukebox musicals. Like I really feel like if you took out a lot of the songs, I would enjoy it a lot better.
I mean, that's fair.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, sometimes it's like that. I don't know. I'm trying to think of other jukebox music. Because like Mamma Mia is the only one I've seen like on screen, I think, off the top of my head. And I mean, Moulin Rouge, Mamma Mia is what it is.
It's
I mean, I've
funny.
seen it on stage. It's very fun.
For a second, I was gonna say Rocky Horror, but just because I've heard those songs so much that I think of them as just existing.
Oh man, Rocky Horror is so good.
Oh yeah, it's great.
What a special movie.
I guess there's no argument for that being highbrow, is there?
No, none at all. And I don't think it would want to be.
No.
I mean,
I think they would be mad at us
if we even
if we had
entertained
suggested
the idea.
that it could be highbrow.
Yeah. Okay. So I mean, I think that's the last thoughts on Moulin Rouge. Theater kid energy, really out there. May not work for you. Love is good.
Yeah, love is a many splendid thing.
Oh, the thing we have to talk about before we stop talking about Moulin Rouge.
Okay.
The opening credits where they play the Fox music and there's a little man conducting the orchestra.
Yes, that was great.
Is so good.
Very good.
It makes me so happy.
I like a good little opening sequence gimmick.
And it's not even that like he's like getting into it. He's just like fucking
Yeah.
in his arms.
What, like The Simpsons has a really good one where it's just Ralph going "Ba-ba-da, ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba."
Or you have stuff like Day After Tomorrow where the Fox logo is like it's like in a storm.
Yeah.
I'm sure. I don't know.
Is it WB that always does the fun, like the crazy? Is it Warner that always does like they have some transition into their logo or out of their logo?
Sometimes.
Yeah, okay.
I know that. I think like the Batman movies do it sometimes. Like I think because they have like
They went through the bat or something.
Yeah, stuff like that.
And then there's a Paramount one in Crystal Skull, right?
I have not seen Crystal Skull.
Oh yeah, it's the Paramount Mountain, and then a match cuts to a molehill, and the mole comes out of it.
Oh, that's kind of fun.
Yeah,
I'm not gonna see that movie.
it's fun.
I mean, pair it with something.
It's
and I'll
better
watch
than
it.
people say it is. It's not good.
You know, maybe. I haven't seen it.
Yeah.
And I like that the just circling back to my last Moulin Rouge point. I like that the little credit conductor man comes back at the end.
Yeah.
And he's sad because
Oh.
the movie's sad at that point.
Yeah.
And it's like seeing the sad thing.
How did they not all have tuberculosis? I thought tuberculosis was like really contagious.
I don't know how tuberculosis. Okay, one, you don't actually know that she has tuberculosis, but it's very heavily implied.
Yeah.
And I don't
If she doesn't,
know. It's basically La Boheme is what they're doing. Which was then like adapted into Rent. And so like with tuberculosis in La Boheme, it's AIDS in Rent. And it's very similar in that like it's this writer who like falls in love with a dancer who has, like that's what it is.
is that what Rent's about?
Yeah, Rent is Mark is a filmmaker. Oh, but then it's Roger is a musician and he falls in love with Mimi, who's a dancer or a stripper, and she has AIDS.
Oh.
And he has AIDS. A lot of them have AIDS.
Huh.
Rent is great. Actually, I came into this armed with like Rent takes too, because I think Rent and Moulin Rouge have that similar kind of very like unabashed like art is important, love is important energy.
Yeah. Isn't there a Rent movie coming out?
Well, Tick Tick Boom is coming out.
Right. Yeah. What's that?
That is about the life. It's about the life of Jonathan Larson. It's like
Oh, okay.
Jonathan Larson who wrote Rent but died in previews when it was still being previewed.
Got it.
He had like a heart condition. If I remember correctly, it's it's like autobiographical, and it was only ever like off Broadway. Tick Tick Boom. Don't quote me on this. Don't come after me. I don't actually know, but like that's the vibe. I think
It's okay. I think we can take the theater nerds who would come after you.
Lin-Manuel Miranda's directing it.
Oh, cool.
Which I think is interesting. I'm very excited for that. I think Larson's an interesting guy, and I think Rent gets a bad rap these days.
Yeah, as kind of like the archetypical theater nerd.
Yeah, and
production.
I think the show knows that. I think it's trying to be bold by saying like, yeah, we believe in this artistic life. Also, I just want to make this point while we're on the subject of Rent. Everyone's always like, oh, why should we sympathize with the people in Rent? They should just pay their rent, right? Well, in the first fucking song of the play, they make clear that Benny, who was their roommate, said they didn't have to pay rent that year. And then he changed his mind and made them pay rent to pressure them into not doing a show against them turning an empty lot where homeless people live into another apartment complex.
I think it's just blacked out.
It's the plot of the movie that they were told they didn't have to pay rent, and then they have to pay rent. So it's not like they're just like, we don't want to pay rent because we're a bunch of bums. It's like they
didn't budget.
Benny's the bad guy.
They didn't budget for it.
They didn't budget for the rent.
Yeah.
Benny said the last year's rent that he let slide, He said they were golden when they were roommates.
Oh my god! Now you're telling me the lyrics to this.
Yes, I'm quoting the opening lines of Rent.
Trying to kill me.
I love
via
Rent.
words.
I love Rent so much.
Oh, okay.
Rent's really great.
I'm never gonna see it. I know I'm not gonna like it, and that's fine.
The movie is not amazing. The more recent one.
Yeah.
I think partially it's just because it's the original Broadway cast mostly, and they're all a lot older.
Oh, interesting.
And so like they're all in like their late 30s.
And like doesn't read because they're supposed to be a young struggling artist in New York.
Yeah, I think in general they direct it as a lot very basic, like not basic, but very like by the books Hollywood musical, and you never really read them as struggling artists. And I think that movie doesn't quite recover from that.
Interesting.
But the songs are fucking fantastic, and Rent is great.
Yeah.
This is a Rent podcast, and I don't care if you agree with me or not.
I think, based on my knowledge of Rent, I'm going to have to go on board.
Quiz?
Would you like to play a game?
Let's play a game.
Okay. So
tell me what you got. Oh, tell us what to say for the listeners at home who maybe this is their first episode. You know.
Oh yeah. So we start playing a quiz game to close out the show, which is one of us picks a list from somewhere online, and we give prompts to have the other person try to guess what the movies are.
Yep.
And this list is movies that star Sting.
Okay.
It is the bottom 5 movies on Rotten Tomatoes that star the pop musician Sting.
This is gonna be tough. I don't know any movies that star Sting.
You know these movies.
Okay, fine.
It's the bottom Rotten
5.
Tomatoes. Yeah.
Okay, and the connection to Moulin Rouge is Roxanne.
Yes.
Okay, I like this because this is. I think you're sending a message subtly, which is that you hate that sequence. So you're picking the bottom 5.
Yes.
This is very, very.
I'm
giggling inside.
I didn't want to just do best musicals because I didn't think that'd be fun.
Yeah, I think you need, and I think we're realizing it's more fun to do these specific ones. Yeah. Okay.
All right.
What we got?
The first one is a sequel to a 2001 comedy.
A sequel to a 2001 comedy. Zoolander 2?
Yes.
All right, cool. Love it.
All right.
Moving on.
Next one.
I have no takes on Zoolander 2.
Yeah, I've seen it. I don't remember it. Okay, the next one. I don't know if you've seen this. I hadn't heard of it. It's the 1985 movie based on a book from the 19th century.
Oh. Is it? I mean, I was gonna say is it a period piece? I'm a fucking idiot. Yeah, unless it's a book from the 19th century that takes place in 1985.
And Ebert said he liked the original film better. So it's also been a film.
I mean, it's been a film this time too.
Yeah, it's also it has previously been adapted.
Adaptation. Is it? It's not a musical.
No. Okay, I'm gonna give you like the easy hint. Okay. Sting's character is named Charles, but in the book he's named Victor.
Oh no, I'm not getting it. What is it?
It's The Bride.
The Bride.
It's a Frankenstein
adaptation. What?
Yeah.
What is this movie?
It's Sting is the lead. He plays Charles Frankenstein, which for some incomprehensible reason they renamed him from Victor Frankenstein to Charles, and then they named the monster Victor, so the monster has a name.
You can't see it at home. My face is just twisted into confusion.
I know.
Right now.
I think they were like. I think it's like a producer trying to be like, this monster needs a name. Everyone fucks up the name of the monster.
Can I ask who directed this movie? Just out of curiosity.
Yeah, it is directed by Frank Rodham.
God bless you, Frank Rodham.
And it also starring Jennifer Beals.
Oh, good for her. Mm-hmm. Is she on Grey's Anatomy? What's she doing?
Is she? I don't recognize her from Grey's Anatomy.
Sorry, I think I remember we looked it up once, like where she's doing that. She's been like working kind of steadily on TV recently.
The L Word? No, the new L Word. Yeah. Because she was in the original L Word, and they brought it back.
So Sting plays the scientist.
Yeah, he plays Frankenstein.
Who plays the monster?
Good
Who
question.
plays Victor? None of this matters to the quiz. I'm just curious. I want to know about this movie.
So Beals is like the bride of Frankenstein.
I love it.
Yeah. Okay. Clancy Brown?
What? That's great. I love Clancy Brown.
Oh, I don't know who Clancy Brown is.
Google him.
He's in Shawshank.
Yeah, he's the warden in Shawshank.
Oh.
He's in like
he's in SpongeBob.
He's
what's his name?
Yeah,
he's Mr. Krabs.
He's Mr. Krabs.
Oh.
He is
Nightmare on Elm Street.
What's his name? From Starship Troopers.
Sergeant Zim.
Yeah, he's the one who catches the bug at the end, and then like Neil Patrick Harris like in the end, it wasn't all our fancy weapons. It was a staff sergeant named Zim.
It fears us. Yeah.
We need to talk about.
We should probably watch this movie. Oh, Starship Troopers. Yes, that's a good movie.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's pretty handily lowbrow, but I also think that movie is brilliant.
Yeah, The Bride. I was looking for a poll quote from Ebert, and the only thing I found was like a segment from Siskel and Ebert where they were talking about the most disappointing movies of 1985.
Disappointing. What expectations did they have?
Because I think they were really hyped up. It seemed like they were really hyped up for it going into it.
I think there is this thing where Frankenstein the book is so good. Obviously, like one of the greatest books ever written.
Right.
And the original movies are kind of fun in their own way. They're very good in their own way. So like I think there's always been this dream that someone could do a real Frankenstein movie.
Yeah, because there isn't. We were talking about this in another episode, weren't we?
Yeah.
How there's not really like a straight up Frankenstein adaptation.
I think we were talking about that about vampires.
Oh,
I
it
think
was about vampires. Yeah.
Yeah. So there's the Frankenstein from the 30s, which is like I like it, but it's not really the book. Mm-hmm. And then people keep trying. I mean,
I always do like a cutesy take on it.
yeah, Kenneth Branagh tried to do one in the 90s with De Niro as the monster, and I think the movie is not very well regarded, but I haven't seen it. And Del Toro, Del Toro was working on it. It was one of the
That would be very good.
That would be maybe the best movie I've ever made.
Yeah.
But I think it fell apart. It was around that time when he was also working on The Hobbit and a bunch of other things. And
Yeah.
It's just one of those things that fell through the cracks.
I wonder what his Shape of Water to Creature from Black Lagoon of
For
Frankenstein would be.
I know. Kronos is kind of
Kronos is a vampire thing, though.
Yes, but I think it has that energy if he turns himself into this thing and it's humanity. I think there's Frankenstein energy in Kronos.
Interesting.
Have you seen Kronos? Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh, yeah, we watched it together.
We watched it together, yeah.
Good movie.
Yeah, great movie.
Okay, what are some other...
Okay, next
do a
one.
quiz,
Next
quiz,
one.
quiz,
Okay, so this, the third movie, Ebert said, "This movie is a real mess, an incomprehensible, ugly, unstructured, pointless excursion into the murkier realms of one of the most confusing screenplays of all time."
What? That's all you're giving me? What
Okay,
year
it
did
was
this come out?
it was originally written as one film, but then condensed into two. Or it was
Condensed into two?
Yeah, and then condensed. Sorry, I wrote it backwards. It was originally written as two films, and then condensed into one.
What year did it come out?
That's a great question. It's in the 80s.
It's in the 80s. Fucking Sting.
Okay, and then here's another one. It required 80 sets built on 16 sound stages and had a total crew of 1,700 with over 20,000 extras.
Is this like a legendary flop that I would have heard of?
Yes.
Oh,
It was
Heaven's Gate?
It was all filmed in Mexico.
Ishtar? Mm-mm. Man, there's things on Ishtar. What am I saying? I mean, Waterworld is the other one that's like a big
It's
flop.
been more recently adapted
Oh, as a film or as a TV show?
as a film.
Oh. Is that film good?
Yes.
Oh, it's Dune.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because the other thing was I was going to say, like, interestingly, Sting's character doesn't appear in the new Dune.
Who is he playing in this one?
Oh, it's some gobbledygook name.
It's fine. Stacker Pentecost.
Maybe he is.
That's Idris Elba in
You've read
Pacific Rim.
you've read the books, right?
I read the first book. I'm not going to recognize the
He's
name.
Fade Rotha.
I have no recognition.
Okay. And then and I was going to say my final hint, if you didn't get it, was many of the exterior shots were filmed in the Samalayuca dune fields in Ciudad Juarez.
Oh, fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would have gotten it from Dune Fields.
Yeah,
because I would have
exactly.
remembered Dune. Have you seen the David Lynch Dune?
Yes, I want to like it desperately, and it's not very good.
Yeah, I really like the new
It
Dune.
looks great.
Yeah, the new Dune very good.
New Dune's great.
Yeah, I don't know. I
Except
have nothing else to
for
say.
Zendaya, who I do not. I have a personal vendetta against Zendaya for being bad at acting.
Hey, Cooper. Zendaya is Michi.
I know, and I will never forgive her for it. Okay, moving right along. In this movie, Sting appears to have been cast based entirely on his name.
The B movie?
Yes.
Okay, cool.
Ebert's review starts with a quote from Karl Marx. That's the one you got, not Dune. I thought you would get Dune way quickly.
I mean, Sting. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah.
How many movies are there about bees? There's one, and sort of Mr. Holmes.
Yeah. The cast of B movie is insane.
Yeah, because it was Seinfeld's first thing after Seinfeld. Then he was like, I want to make a movie where I'm a bee. So he
Yeah.
just called in every favor, I assume.
Yeah. And then Ebert's review has like an epigraph, and it's a quote from Karl Marx that from each according to his ability to each according to his need, which is very highbrow way to start off your B movie review.
I mean, Ebert would sometimes just like get in his zone and just like have
Yeah.
a really weird sense of humor about shit.
Yeah. Okay, next one. Ebert's review, he says, the title character of this movie makes Bruce Valanche seem like Mike Ditka.
The title character.
Yes.
I'm struggling to imagine what he means by that.
The main character originally appeared on a TV series for Channel 4.
Oh. Alan Partridge? Because Channel 4 is like BBC, right? Mm-hmm. Originally appeared on that. I mean, they never made like a Blackadder movie. I'm just trying to think of like British comedy things.
The creator of the movie faced a $110 million lawsuit and death threats after the release of the movie.
Oh.
And Sting plays himself.
Oh, is it a Sacha Baron Cohen thing?
Yes.
Is it Bruno?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's Bruno.
Yeah.
The final clue is in this. Paula Abdul sits on a person in this movie.
I have actually never seen Bruno.
It's I saw it in theaters when it came out. I thought it was funny, but not as good as Borat at the time. I don't know how well it ages.
Yeah, I'm scared to go back to it.
I'm a little scared too. I'm even a little scared to like say that I liked it at the time.
We can bleep all this out if you want.
No.
I'm doing
Keep it
the
in.
editing now, and the bleeping's fun.
Nah.
It's I mean.
Okay, if you want to bleep stuff, my social security number is.
There we go. That'll be a great callback for people listening to episode 3.
Please actually bleep that.
I will bleep that.
That is my social
Why do you keep
security
reading?
number.
Why do you keep reading your actual phone number and social number? You could just say numbers and it would be
you
fine. Yes, that's exactly what I mean. I mean, you could just be saying random numbers right now.
No, but instead I'm saying.
Okay, quiz. Is there anything left?
That's the quiz.
Okay.
End quiz. End of quiz.
End of quiz. Good stuff. Yeah, this was fun. I mean, what do you think about the I like these debate episodes. I think it might be good to mix it in.
I think it's a good. I think part of the reason why I want to do more of these is that it allows us to have some weeks where we'll only have to watch one movie to record a podcast episode.
Which I think is also good for
Viewers.
our listeners at home. Viewers.
Oh, yeah.
Looking around for a camera.
Yeah, people watching their phone.
The viewers are me and you staring at each other right now. For the people listening, I think, it might be nice to only have to listen to one, and also means that, we can kind of see some of the movies that are harder to pair.
Yeah, like I don't really know what we would pair with Moulin Rouge.
Well,
I guess musicals.
Yeah, we could do Moulin Rouge in the 50s, but I don't think anyone's
Rent?
seen that movie. Rent? Oh, that would be a good one.
Yeah.
Yeah, Rent and Moulin Rouge. Yeah, I don't know. It was fun.
No. Any recommendations?
Recommendations, yeah.
I watched House Party recently, and it was very fun. It's Kid and Play are in it. Mm-hmm. It's got Martin Lawrence. It's just like, I don't know. It's just like I think it's 1990, so it's like a late 80s, early 90s feel, just like how teen comedy, super fun. There's a couple scenes that don't age super well.
There's always some of those,
but it's super fun, and they rap in it, and they're actually like professional rappers, so they're good, and it's super fun.
Yeah. I guess my recommendation, kind of a different one, but me and Jess have been watching Mr. Robot. I've already seen all of it, but it's the first time for her rewatch for me. Really, really good show. I know we talked about it a little bit on the Bohemian Rhapsody episode, but now that I'm rewatching it now, I think really holds up. It's really I think the filmmaking's fantastic. I think it's like daring and interesting in a way that like a lot of we talk a lot about how like maybe we're outside of the golden age of television, but we're in peak TV. I think Mr. Robot might be kind of the tail end of the golden age of shows that are really trying to do artsy and interesting things.
That's an interesting take that I haven't heard.
Especially, I mean, season 1 I think is a lot more classic TV. I mean, it's kind of built around a couple different mysteries, a little more accessible.
Mm-hmm. Well, the whole mystery of who Mr. Robot is hasn't been revealed yet, right?
Right. Yeah. I'll get into that later. Anyway, but yeah, so I think it's seasons 2, 3, and 4 especially, it really kind of blows up, and you kind of tell like, what the show always wanted to be. Mm-hmm. It's kind of secretly a couple different shows. I don't know, it's hard to describe without really spoiling it, but if you watch season 1 of Mr. Robot and kind of fell off because 2 got really weird, if you're interested in some really interesting like artistic television with some really good performances, I really recommend going back to it. It's all on Amazon Prime. And you kind of get a sense of like why Rami Malek is like I think still pretty revered as an actor because he's so good in the show.
Nice.
Yeah. And a great Christian Slater performance.
Yeah, a man whose performances I cannot stand watching.
He's very, very good in Mr. Robot.
What is he? Is he in Heathers?
Probably.
I think he's in Heathers. I just find him so smarmy. I'm sure he's I don't know if he's a fine person, but like I'm not judging him as a person based on this, but he's just this like smarmy performance always that makes me upset.
Yeah. But that's like I think that's what a lot of great TV has
I'm thinking of True Romance.
Oh, I haven't seen True Romance.
I can't take True Romance seriously because I just find him so creepy, and he's not trying to play it creepy.
Interesting. I haven't seen. He
might also be in Heathers, but that wasn't what I was thinking of.
A good pairing that we can't do because no one would have seen these movies, but Badlands and True Romance, because True Romance is doing Badlands.
Yeah.
I think that would be And maybe we should just watch those movies and talk about them like off
People
mic.
like True Romance.
True Romance, I think, is more widely seen. But I think Badlands is very much, unless you are a film person.
Yeah.
But I think the movie's like just tremendous.
Yeah, it's a kind of a Bonnie and Clyde story. It's very good.
Yeah. Okay, I think that's all I got. This was fun. Next week we'll be back with, I think, more of a standard episode.
Rate, review, and subscribe.
Rate, review, subscribe. Let us know what you think. Thank you for listening. This has been great. And goodbye.
Bye forever.
Forever.